Hello and welcome back for episode number 41 of the weekly playback. I did not play too many games in the last week, so before I get into the games, I'll explain why. So if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen a status on Sunday. On Sunday, I went to Rochester for the day and spent like a couple of hours at my sister's house, and around 12:30 I got this like really bad pain in my chest and I was having a lot of trouble breathing. Like it was just very painful, so like, you know, I thought it was something else, so I just started taking medicine and that didn't help. And then, you know, by nighttime it was just so much worse and I just felt like very short of breath, and every time, you know, I would try to take a deep breath because I felt short of breath, so every once in a while I would try to take a deep breath, then it was just very painful. So then, you know, I just posted a status about that on Twitter, and then someone suggested that it could be a pulmonary embolism, so I should go to the hospital just to be on the safe side. And considering that just a week before I had gone, you know, been on some extremely long flights, and when I'm on flights I hardly ever get up from the plane seat. Like I might get up once to use the bathroom and that's it, and that's what I did on like even like a 12 or 13 hour flight. I think I only got out of my seat once. So I went to the ER and got checked for a pulmonary embolism, and they said it wasn't that, and they also did some tests for like a heart attack and stuff like that, and they said it wasn't that either. So then they just sent me home. So then, you know, I kind of came to the conclusion myself the next day, which I took off from work, which was Monday, that okay, maybe it's just like you know, a muscle, a pulled muscle or something. So finally I made an appointment with my doctor, because by Tuesday, the end of Tuesday, it still wasn't better, and it just is a lot worse at night. So on Wednesday morning I went to the doctor, like my regular doctor, and she said it was like inflammation of some kind. So it's the inflammation that's like making it painful to like breathe and stuff like that. So like no major medicine, it's just, you know, I'm still feeling a little bit short of breath and stuff like that. So every once in a while I'll take a deep breath, but it's, you know, less painful than before, because she just basically told me to take a crap ton of Tylenol every day. So I've been doing that. So I've just been taking a lot of Tylenol and putting ice packs on it to try to lessen the inflammation. So it is doing better, but at nighttime it just gets a lot worse. I don't know if that's like just something in general, like at night does inflammation just tend to get worse in general? I don't know. So anyway, so that's the story. So I did not get to play too many board games in the last week because I was feeling pretty bad. so yeah, so that is that story. So I guess I'll just get into the games that I did play. So the first one we will talk about is Foundations of Rome. It's a giant box. Oh, actually I forgot to bring up BGG, oopsies. So there is a current campaign of Foundations of Rome on Kickstarter right now, so if you don't have the base game you can get it. It's going to be insanely expensive. This was actually gifted to me. This base game was gifted to me by someone who I had sent some board games to like over a year ago, and he, you know, that was done when I think he got this for me when late pledges were open or something like that. So Foundations of Rome is listed as a 2022 game. It's designed by Emerson Matsushi. It's for 2 to 4 players. The artist is Damien Mamoliti, and it's published by Arcane Wonders. I know it says 2 to 4 players, but actually you can play it solo. There is a solo mode. I don't know if mine comes with the solo mode stuff. I don't know, but anyway. So this is a tile placement game. So let me just pull out one of the things. Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I don't have the Monuments expansion, so it has this big like styrofoam thingy, whatever you call it. So I'll just pull out one set of buildings, and then it has like this, which comes with the like board and the cards. So you are going to, wow, this is fun. Okay. Oops. Okay. Oh well. So each player is going to have their own insert, like tray thingy, which will have all of their buildings. And you are going to have, it's a very easy to learn game, by the way. So each player is going to have a number of these, and you are, let me pull out, well, the board, oh, I'll see what I can do. All right, so you are going to have a board, and depending on the number of players, you will decide which side of the board you're going to have. So in a 2-player game, we played with the smaller side. In a larger game, you're going to have a much bigger board. So, and then you're going to have like the score tracker. This score tracker will keep track of points as well as population. Because population, you'll get points for like buildings that are like citizen buildings or something like that. And then you'll get a bonus, but I'll get into that in a minute. So, what is this? Oh yeah, so this is the board where you're going to have the deeds, like the to buy plots of land. So in a 2-player game, you are going to have all of these, which will have like, you know, the letter and the number of a space that's on that board. And at the beginning of the game, I believe you start out with 7 or is it 6 of your little guys put down to indicate that you own that space. So you're going to put those down. What happened here? Something's out of something. Oh, there. Okay, so you're going to, I believe, shuffle these and deal out 6 or 7 to each player to begin with. You're going to go and place your markers on all of the little spaces that you own. The first player of the game, I believe, will start out with 6 money, I think, and then the next player will get 7, and so on. On your turn, so you're going to have 3 different eras in this game. So, you're going to take the remaining cards, shuffle them, of course, and put them face down. And the remaining, era spots, so era 1, era 2, and era 3. Then you're going to reveal some cards at the bottom, and that's like the market. So on your turn, you can do one of 3 different things. You can either take income from the bank. Income is 5 plus any income you have from buildings you've placed, which provide income, commercial buildings. Like, so for example, if you had placed this building, which is a commercial building, that would give you an additional 2 coins if you choose to take income. And there are multiple commercial buildings. So let me just show you the different types of buildings. So you have commercial buildings, which are this color, this like kind of like greenish color, whatever. This cream color is like the let me just make sure I get the name right, because there's different kinds of names. Those are like the civic, or the people ones, residential. So these cream colored ones are residential, and these like white ones are civic buildings. Civic buildings all will give you some kind of a scoring condition. You need to be adjacent to a building that is of the type that's indicated on a civic building in order to score points. So like this one, it says you will get 1 point for any other type of building that is adjacent to this one. That's what that symbol is. Like for example, this one will give you 2 points. No, sorry, 1 point for every 2 people like indicated on buildings next to you. So like for example, this one has 4 people on it. So if you get 1 point for every 2 people, you would get 2 points for this. So that's how that works. So on your turn, you can take either income, and again, you'll get 5 plus any income you get from commercial buildings, or you can build. So in a location where you have one of these, you can place down a building. So when you place down buildings, of course, you're going to look at the building size and see what will fit. However, you can upgrade buildings. So like, let's suppose you had these 2 together, which would take up 4 spots. You could remove these and no, actually, I don't know if you could add this one, because when you upgrade a building, it has to be larger than the one that you're removing. And I actually don't know if you can replace 2 buildings that are a size 4 with just a size 4, or if you'd have to have a size 5 to replace that. I don't even know if there's a size 5 building. So I don't know what happens. I think you can do that actually, because it's made up of 2 buildings. So I think you can still do that, but let me just double check. So construction, so you can never build over a building of the same size or larger. But I don't know if you remove 2 buildings, how that works. I think it would be fine. It didn't happen in my game. I never removed 2 size 2 buildings and then put a size 4 over it, so that didn't happen. So you can only build over buildings that are smaller, and then those buildings will come back in your supply and you can use them again. And finally, the last thing you can do is buy a card from the market, of course. So, the prices of the cards are listed, and as soon as one is bought, they shift down, and then a new one comes out in the most expensive spot. And once the last card is bought, so not when the pile is empty, but when the last card is bought and there's no more cards there, then everyone will get 1 more turn. And then you go on to the next era. At the end of an era, you have scoring. So you will score for, first let me just open this up and I can tell you what you will score for. So first you score for residential buildings. So you will count up how many residential points you have. So like for example, this would be 2 residential, and you're going to be keeping track of how many people live in your community with your score tracker here. So that'll make it easy. So you will get points for each person that you have out. Plus, if you have the most, you will get a bonus. That bonus in era 1 is an additional 4 points, in era 2 it's an additional 7 points, and in era 3 it's an additional 10 points. Then you do civic building scoring, which is those special ones where you check to see how many points you get for the conditions that you have met. And then finally, you do commercial building scoring. So commercial buildings, when you place them, some of them will have points on the tray underneath, which will, I don't want to tip this all the way because it's going to fall, but like some of them will have points written on the tray to tell you how many points you get for them. Not all of them have points, but some of them do. Like the small ones don't have points. So you'll get points for that, plus you'll get to collect the money that you get from the commercial buildings. In the last era, instead of collecting money, you will get points equal to the amount of money you would have collected, plus the points that are written there. And then whoever has the most points wins. So it's a very easy game, super duper easy. It's just a polyomino game with really big buildings, really big miniatures. Like, was that necessary? I don't know. Anyway, but like in addition to all of these cards, and you know, I took out the cards for the 3 and 4 players, there are these other special cards that have like different modules. So there are these modules which I haven't played with yet. So I wonder how that changes the game up. But yeah, again, you know, it's a very... Something's not right here. Where does this go? Oh, oops. No, that's not right. Sorry. Okay. So, it's a very easy game. It's a super easy game to learn. Like, rules are super simple. You can explain them to someone. You can explain it in like 5 minutes or less to someone and then just start playing. I don't know if it needed to be this expensive. Like on Kickstarter right now, let me just go to the Kickstarter page. I know that price is a huge hindrance for people. So I wanted to get this off of my shelf of shame so I could see whether or not I wanted to back the expansions. I was actually thinking about selling this game originally. Originally, I was like, I'm really tight on money. So I was like, I don't know if this is a game I want to keep because it's gigantic. Like this box is humongous. And I wouldn't have felt guilty selling it because the person who gifted it to me, after, I had sent them a number of board games as well. So I wouldn't have felt super guilty selling it. So if you are a returning backer, just to get their new expansion, Roads of Fortune is $40 plus shipping, of course. If you are like me and you did not get the Monuments expansion from before, then I believe the Monuments expansion, you have to add it as an add-on, and I think if I remember correctly, it was like $80 or something like that. It's really expensive. I cannot remember exactly how much it was. But if you're a new backer and you want everything, including the base game, it's $200. That is not cheap. So, but yeah, maybe if I go to manage my pledge, I can see exactly how much the add-on was for. So yeah, oh sorry. Yeah, I think it was $80 because yeah, it was $80. Yeah, so that's a lot. Sorry for the pause, I was just checking something. So yeah, that is really expensive for an expansion, $80. And $200 for everything. And people, it could have been a cardboard game. There's no reason it needed to be all of these like super duper chunky buildings and stuff like that. Would it still have the same appeal? I don't know. I mean, obviously a huge reason that this game appeals to people is because of these gigantic buildings and how big this, just the table presence of this game. Like when you have your completed city, which of course I'll have thrown up a picture here, it looks pretty cool. There's no doubt about that. But maybe for people who do want to play this but don't want to shell out $200, maybe they could come out with like just a cardboard version of it, but I don't honestly know if people would enjoy playing it that much. Like, in terms of polyomino games, it's a pretty simple polyomino game. you know, just with some, you know, it is fun though. It is really fun, like to decide whether or not, you know, you want to take income to try to save, to buy another, you know, card, or whether you want to build, and if your card comes up that you want and you know that you need that like space, like it was a lot of fun. It actually was a lot of fun. Like I would take cards that my opponent wanted and, you know, to kind of screw over his plans, but he still won in the end by like 10, 11 points. I don't know if it would be, I guess it could still be as fun as a cardboard game, just, you know, you just won't have the table presence to it. But yeah, I mean, maybe people should tell the publisher to consider that. I don't know. All right, let me just put this back. So I am backing the expansions just because I do have this big box, and I guess I won't sell it in the end. It's a huge box, but oh well, it's gigantic. Let me just put this down. Okay. Okay. All right. The next game we'll talk about is Mythic Mischief. But oh, if you have any questions about Foundations of Rome, you know, that you want to ask before the campaign ends, that maybe I didn't cover, feel free to ask. There's 17 days left in Foundations of Rome. Okay, the second game I will talk about is Mythic Mischief, which I absolutely love. So this is a game that I was so sad to send the prototype of on to someone else, like another reviewer, because I really wanted to keep it. After playing one game, I was like, I just want to play again and again. So Mythic Mischief came out in 2022. It's designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, and Austin Harrison, and it's published by Ivy Games, and it's for 1 to 4 players. And this is an abstract strategy game, and it's a lot of fun. So you are going to have these different mythical factions. You are going to have this library board. Points are kept track of on the bottom. You're going to have a tome keeper in the center of the board. The cool thing about this box is, and this is like the all-in edition, excuse me, is that it includes enough components so you can play tournament style. You can have 2 full games going on of this at the same time. It includes 2 boards, it includes 2 tome keepers, and I didn't even know it was going to have that. And then of course it includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different factions. So the different factions are vampires, ghosts, wizards, trolls, witches, zombies. No, wait, is that I'm sorry, monsters, and then zombies. So every time I play this game, I've only played it twice. I believe I've played as, the first time I ever played, I think I played as wizards, and then I played as witches a couple nights ago. So, and let me just show you an example of some of these. So here is the inside of the box. I'm a sleever, so I tucked in the cards that you use for a multiplayer game up here, but otherwise the cards do go in here, but since mine obviously wouldn't all fit, I tucked some back there. And then the different components rest on top. So like here, you're gonna have 2 in each other section, and then all of the bookshelves, and then the 2 tome keepers. And then the components, the extra components, I put in little plastic bags and shoved them in the side. So I put, you know, 2 separate bags, so you know each person who's playing a game can just take one, whatever. Okay, so let me just show you an example of some components. I'll show you the wizards since they're purple. So each person is going to have like these little books, which you'll be collecting tomes. Yeah, I think they're called tomes, books. And then, you know, if your faction might have some special after lunch abilities and you might have some special tokens or components for your after lunch ability, which I'll explain. And then of course your miniatures. So these are plastic miniatures. I hope they won't ever break, because like in the prototype version they broke. So you are going to basically start the game with some dice placed where the circles are. So the circles indicate your starting locations of your dice, and you will place the die on the number that is indicated above the dot. And on your turn, you will be able to use those abilities and reduce the die by 1 number each time you use that ability. You can use them in any order. All the players have the same abilities to move, to distract, to... what are the other basic abilities? Let me see. So yeah, the basic abilities. Sorry, one second. Yeah, so you can move shelves, you can distract. So moving shelves, each player is going to have their own way of doing that. So like for example, wizards, they can shift, whereas witches can manifest to move shelves. Also moving mythics, each faction will have its own way to move mythics. So wizards, for example, can warp, whereas witches will enchant. And zombies, or not zombies, monsters will throw. So each player is going to have their own way to move other mythics and to move shelves, but moving themselves and distracting is the same. So the way to get points in this game is you are going to be trying to collect tomes so that you can upgrade, boost your abilities. So after you've taken all of your turn, you've used up all of the values that you want to use, then all of your dice will go to the leftmost space of each ability, and then you will put it to the number on top. So like, even though you start the game with a shift ability, because the dot is under the 1, if you use that on your first round, on your first turn, your die is then going to go to that space and it will be a 0 unless you boosted it. How you boost it is by collecting those books, which are going to be placed out in the library. There's going to be bookshelves placed out, and there's going to be books placed out on the board, and I'll have a picture up, and you are trying to collect those bookshelves so that you can boost your ability. So after you've gone, you will then be able to place the bookshelves you've collected in the columns to the left to then place your die to the right of that during the cleanup phase. And then of course all your dice will be turned to the face value of the number indicated above it, and that's what you'll have to use. So some of them will cost more tomes in order to boost. Like for example, this one says 1 here and 1 here. So you need to boost this 3 times in order to finally get 2 in your distract ability, and that's because distract is powerful. So distract means you will be able to move the tome keeper towards you, and if in one space, and if in doing so the tome keeper lands on a space with an enemy mythic, you will gain 1 point and their mythic will go off the board, and then on their turn they will have to place the mythic at one of the starting locations. So these cards will indicate where things go. So you will have a before lunch card that you'll randomly select, and that will indicate to you, so the tome keeper, after each player takes a turn, the tome keeper has their turn, and this card will indicate how many movement points the tome keeper takes. And the tome keeper's objective is to go to the numbered locations, go to 1 first, then 2, and then 3, and they will always take the shortest movement possible. And in moving to those numbers, if they run into mythics, those mythics get thrown off the board. And yeah, and then you'll have to place them back. And when you place them back, you will place them on one of the circles, which is like one of the entry points that you can enter through. And these cards will indicate where you'll place your tomes in the beginning, your books in the beginning of the round. So there's an before lunch and then after lunch. So before lunch ends once the tome keeper reaches the 3rd location. And if he still has movement points left after the 3rd location, he will try to go back to the center space where he started. Then you will do the after lunch, and you'll reveal the after lunch setup. And if you have any mythics on the board, they will remain where they are. So yeah, so it's a really cool game. It kind of feels like chess and Dice Throne combined in one, even though there's no dice involved except for, you know, keeping track, like their counters. So you're not rolling, so there's not really a random element, but for some reason it kind of feels like that to me. Okay, you know what? Maybe not Dice Throne. You know what it feels like? It feels like Unmatched. It feels like Unmatched in chess, actually. That's what it feels like, even though there's no cards that you're going through and trying to use. But that's what it feels like. It feels like a combination of Unmatched and chess with like a changing board. It is really cool, and I really love this game, and I just want to play it more. Like, I honestly can't wait to play some more of the factions. So this was a game that I was super sad to see go, but I'm happy it's back. So here is the Tome Keeper. I can't remember if I showed him yet or not. He's super duper chunky. And then here are some bookshelves that you'll have. And again, you'll be able to move these bookshelves to block in people, but you can never block in someone entirely. There always has to be an opening for them to move, and you can never place a bookshelf on the edge of the library. So you can never place a bookshelf on the edge here. So every time you move these, according to your movement abilities, shifting abilities of these shelves, you have to make sure that there's always an opening of some kind. But yeah, it's a super duper cool game. So the game ends once someone reaches 10 points and they'll win. Otherwise, if the Tome Keeper reaches, you know, accomplishes their goal by the end of after lunch, then whoever has the most points will win. So I played very badly because I did not boost my distractibility at all, which was a huge mistake. So I played as the witches, and because I did not boost my distractibility, I really had no way of getting the Tome Keeper to get my opponents until the very end, where I kind of was able to maneuver things a little bit to make that happen. But now I know that the next time I play this, I feel like distractibility is very powerful and I need to focus on boosting that. So yeah, so really great game. I really love it. And yeah, it's, you know, it is a IV game. IV games, so it is maybe going to be a little bit on the pricier side. I do think that they have regular, like, non-deluxe editions as well of their games, so it might be worth looking into. They do currently have a campaign on Kickstarter right now for Moonrakers, and I believe that the pledge manager will have the ability to add on, like, additional stuff. So if you're backing Moonrakers, you might be able to get some stuff for this game if you want. So that was Mythic Mischief, which I really, really love. The next game I will talk about, which I played, was Taverns of Tiefenthal, which I was glad to get off of my shelf of shame, even though it wasn't with my copy that we played. So I have it back here. So Taverns of Tiefenthal, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a 2019 game. And it is for 2 to 4 players, designed by Wolfgang Warsch. It is illustrated by Dennis Lahausen, and it is published by Schmidt-Spiel and North Star Games and a bunch of other publishers. So this game, it's really cool. It's a dice worker placement game. So it's like a, I think it's a dice worker. I would describe it as that, but it's not listed as a worker placement game. That's interesting. It's listed as a deck, bag, and pool building game, and dice rolling and open drafting. But that's interesting because you do place your dice. Huh. I don't know why it's not called a worker placement game. That's weird. I wonder if that's just a mistake or... Oh, so I'm gonna have to put up a picture because, you know, there is like no main board. Each player is going to have their... So here's the main board. Like you'll have a moon thingy going around this board to indicate which round it is. And each player is going to have their own tavern. This, you know, you'll be setting up your tavern, so it's kind of hard to indicate. Here, and each player is going to have white dice to begin with, and then you may be able to earn additional dice in your color to roll, and each player is going to have certain cards. So you will have a certain hand of cards to begin with different abilities, and you are just trying to upgrade your board, upgrade your tavern, and, you know, collect different things. So you may want to collect like beer, you are trying to collect money, you know, just to get better cards. It's a deck building game, so you're trying to get better cards and get rid of the, you know, the not so good ones. But the dice you roll, you put them in different locations to do different actions, you know, to maybe get a turn over an upgrade tile or to buy a new card or something like that. So I'm not sure why it's not listed as a worker placement game. I really don't understand, because it seems like a dice worker placement game to me where you place the dice. So I don't know why that is. But anyway, it's a fun game. I don't know how else to explain it, you know. So each player is going to roll their dice simultaneously and stuff. Like first, oh, I should obviously explain the main part of this game. So at the top of your tavern, you are going to have tables available. So those tables will indicate, where are they? How many patrons you can hold. So as you're revealing cards, not all of the cards you reveal will be patrons that go on the table. So some of them might go next to another part of your board to like give you more beer. They might give you more of something else. They might let you roll some additional dice. So you are revealing cards and you don't want to fill up your bar immediately. Like you want to be able to get other stuff, you know, on the side of your tavern to have a really good round. And you can also upgrade your tavern to have more tables, and some of the cards you buy will be additional tables. So when they come out, you will just put them next to these tables and then be able to put patrons on top of them. So it's a really cool game. I really like it. Like I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun to play. In just the last couple of rounds, like I was always one freaking beer short. So you are collecting, you know, you want to upgrade your people that you're able to get into your deck. And where are the cards? Oh wow, this insert is totally broken. Oh dear, all that stuff was hidden. What did I do here? Did I? Oh, maybe I made this insert completely wrong. Or maybe it just got damaged. How does this work? What on earth is going here? On here. Oh, okay, there we go. So I actually got the upgraded components for this game, and I totally forgot that I did that. So there are a couple of modules that come with this game, which use these upgraded components. So different kinds of patrons. So you want to try to get royals, because royals you can place on top of each other, and they're worth more points. So some of these cards will be worth points at the end of the game. So let me just show you. So here is a royal. So royals will be worth 10 points at the end of the game. And if they take a seat on a table, you can, any other royals that come out, you can place on top of them. So that's really good. So if you get royals, that's really great. And also when you buy cards, you know, when you have saved up enough money or have enough beer to get some kind of a new card, they go on top of your draw pile. So you essentially know what is going to come next. So that is cool. It doesn't go into your discard. It goes on top of your draw pile. Here's an example of a table card that you can buy for 5 coins if you happen to get enough coins. Yeah. Here's a card that you can get for 6 coins, which will give you an additional beer to spend, and that will go to the side of your board. It's not a patron. So a patron always looks like, you know, they're sitting at a table. So like here's a patron. So she's like sitting at a table. So you can always tell who a patron is. Here is a card that you will be able, so this is the server, and this will also go to the side of your board, and that will give you an additional die in your own color. So you actually take turns drafting dice. You roll all the dice after you've put out your cards. Then you get to roll all of the dice, and then you pick one and then switch, and then pick one and then switch. So you're drafting dice, which is really cool. And then you're going to try to allocate your dice on your board to, you know, do the different things you want, like upgrade parts of your board, get new cards, you know, try to get rid of bad cards in your deck. It's a really fun game. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, so I'm glad I finally got this off of my shelf of shame. It took long enough. But yeah, a really fun game. So I highly recommend this one if you haven't played it yet. And I do want to play with the modules. I think that would be fun. So this is the first player marker, and this is the time tracker. It's cool. It's a little moon. So those were the 3 games that I played. So I will just take a tiny break and stop the video and then start it again for the question. Or no, actually no, I won't. Before I do that, I have to go over the other stuff. I feel like if not, you know, because of my break, I keep on forgetting stuff. So games I'm backing. So yeah, let me just do that first. So like I said, I'm backing Foundations of Rome, the expansions. What else am I backing? I'm backing, I'm backing this RPG game that a friend of mine helped design and illustrate. It's called the Still Fleet Core Rulebook. I'm only backing it at $1 because I'm actually not into RPGs. I don't actually play RPGs, but just to throw in some support, I decided to back that. But if you are into RPGs, you should check it out. They funded on day 1. So they are currently at $19,121, and their goal was $7,000. So the artwork looks fantastic. Again, I'm not into RPGs. If I were, then I think I would enjoy it. It's like a sci-fi RPG. And of course, I'm still backing Primordial Secrets at $1, and they are so close to funding at the time I'm shooting this video. So they are just like $200 off, $120 some dollars off actually. So their goal is $12,000, and they are at $11,884. I know that they're at Gen Con, so I'm guessing that people have been playing this game at Gen Con and then going on Kickstarter and backing it because it is a really good deck building game. And then of course there's Moonrakers. Let's see what Moonrakers is at now. They're also at Gen Con. Wow, so they are at $1,555,135 with over 10,000 backers. Wow, and that has 8 days left. And then finally, I'm backing Sunshine City for $12, which is a print and play game, and there are 7 days left for that. Games that I received or bought, I will show you guys something because let me just shove this to the side. I'll take care of it later. So I was in Rochester the other day and I called a game. I called Sushi Roll I just felt like I didn't need it. It's a fun game. I like Sushi Roll, but I feel like enough people have it that if I ever want to play it, I can just be like, hey, do you have Sushi Roll? Can you like bring that to game night so we can play? So I decided to cull it and get store credit. So I went to Millennium Games in Rochester on Sunday and I sold that, and then I had some store credit and I saw this and I picked it up. I tried looking this up on Board Game Geek before getting it, could not find any information about it. Silly me, all I really did was just like look at the front, and all it said was a frantic race to prepare for Hogwarts. I didn't even look at the back of the box before getting this, which maybe was a mistake, I don't know. So I didn't even look at the player count or anything. All I did was see that it's Harry Potter, and I could tell from the front of the box that it has artwork and not the photographs of the actors, which is my biggest pet peeve. Like, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, but I cannot stand it when games use photographs of humans. The only exception I make to that is Obsession, because in Obsession it fits the theme of the game and it's old photographs, so it's all dead people, so I don't feel like I'm looking at photographs of like, you know, like just like stuff that you would see in like a magazine or something. So it fits the theme of the game. So the only exception to that rule I will ever make is for Obsession. Otherwise, I will never buy a game that has images of people in it, even if it's a Harry Potter game, and I love Harry Potter so much, but I will not buy any Harry Potter game that has the pictures of the actors in it. So this I saw has the artwork, and so I got it without knowing anything about this game except for what I read on the front of the box. There is nothing available about this game on BGG, so I went home and I unboxed it. And now I'm not sure, you know, if it was really a great idea to get this game. It's for 3 to 5 players, ages 6 and up. so really, each player is just going to have a board. So you will either have the Quidditch supplies, the Flourish and Blots, which is the books. You will have the Owl Emporium, which is owls, where you can buy owls. You will have Ollivander's Wand Shop, or you will have the Weasley store. And then in the middle, you'll have like a cobblestone, which connects all the storefronts. You are going to start out with a certain number. These are super duper chunky, by the way. These components are fantastic. So these pieces are just so incredibly chunky, but they have to be chunky because you need to quickly pick them up and like throw them at other people's boards. So there's different components representing the different items you can get at the different shops. So like you can get a chocolate frog, you can get a wand, you can get a broom, you can get an owl, and then there are some books in here as well. So these are super duper chunky. And then there's money, and then there's dice. And each player is going to start with 3 different dice. So one die will indicate the number of items, and it's numbered 1, 2, and 3. The other die will indicate the direction, right or left, so it's only got R's and L's on it. And the other die will indicate the items that are available, and one of them is a wild. So yeah, and really pretty dice. So like here, let me show you the owl, which I don't know if it'll show up, but it's so freaking pretty. So each player is going to have 3 dice. What you're going to do is it's a real-time, quick, you know, very fast game. You don't have to wait for other players. You're going to start with a certain number of items on your board. You're going to roll your dice. What you're trying to do is trying to get items off of your, you know, board that don't match up with your shop, and you're trying to get items that do match your board onto your shop from other players. So, you know, when something comes up, if it's an item that does not belong to your shop, then you can take that item from your shop and move it according to what else comes up. So you can move it 1 space to the left. If it's an item that does belong to your shop as indicated on your board, you can take it from someone else. And I believe the round ends once your board contains only items that you have that belong to you. So let's see. Let me just double check. So yeah, you don't have to wait until anyone else does what they're supposed to do. So if someone is really slow, like, too bad for them. So yeah, I think it ends. Where does it say it when it ends? After completing the dice prompts, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, continue rolling and moving Hogwarts school supplies until someone has only the items that belong in their shop. Shout Mischief Manage to announce your victory at the end of the round. And then, if you are the one who shouted Mischief Manage, you will get 3 galleons. Everyone scores 1 galleon for each of the items that belong in their shop. Then subtract 1 galleon for every other Hogwarts school supply in your shop. If your score is positive, collect the galleons. If it's 0 or lower, you do not collect. The first person to get to 11 galleons will win. So yeah, so it's a very quick game where you don't have to wait for anyone else. You're just trying to do things as quickly as possible. So while people are trying to throw items onto your board, you're trying to collect only your items and get rid of the ones that don't belong to your shop. So, you know, it's not like a strategy, but it seems like a really fun, quick game. It's nothing like, you know, I don't have anything like this. I don't know if like even Magic Maze would count as something like that, because Magic Maze at least has a little bit more strategy to it, because in Magic Maze, you have to kind of work together and try to, you know, steal items in a mall. Like this one, you're not working with anyone, and it's just going to be very, like, as they say, frantic. Like it's just going to be like an all-out frenzy of people just trying to, you know, do what they can to win. So I'm going to take this to a game night where I hope there are at least 3 of us so we can play, oh no, and see how it goes. So I think that would be fun. In terms of games that I'm calling, I brought back Mariposas from my sister's place, which I had put in a box there. That's a game I want to call, just because when I only played it once. Maybe I should try playing it one more time before I decide to call it. I don't know. But the one time I played it, and me and my sister, we played it together, and we just, neither of us liked it, even though we thought it was really pretty and we loved the butterflies and everything. But we just thought it was really, it's hard to remember, but I just felt like really hard at the time to achieve like some of the objectives or something like that. So maybe I should give it one more try before I decide to call it. I don't know. So anyway, so those are the games I received and the games I'm currently culling, and I really have to cull a lot more because space is, you know, a problem here. So let me just stop the video and then I will go to the questions and answer session. Okay, I am back. So the first question was, oh, actually, so in the last video, I actually messed up. So I had mentioned that the only Stonemaier games I've played are Euphoria and Libertalia, the one that I was showing you guys at the time, but that's not true. I remembered another Stonemaier game I've played, which is Scythe. So yeah, and also I have Viticulture, which is somewhere back here, which I still need to play. It's on my shelf of shame, but I do remember I've played Scythe just once. I played with someone, I played with 3 other people, and one of them had extremely bad, he's the player I know who has the worst analysis paralysis of anyone I know. And I know another player who has really bad analysis paralysis too, but this one like surpasses even him. So so maybe that had something to do with my experience. I don't know, but I feel like I maybe should play it again someday because I know a lot of people love that game. And Euphoria was so many years ago, I actually don't remember anything about it. And in fact, I had posted a question on Facebook which got over like 100 responses. Because after playing Taverns of Tiefenthal, I was curious whether there are any dice worker placement games where the dice you're rolling and placing onto the board actually fit with the theme of the game. Because even in Taverns of Tiefenthal, I cannot remember what the dice are supposed to represent, if anything at all. So, because you know, you're just rolling them and then putting them out, like maybe, I don't know. So I was just curious whether there are any games where the dice actually fit with the theme of the game, the rolling of it makes sense, and the placement of them makes sense. And someone actually, a couple people actually mentioned Euphoria. And I played Euphoria like back in like 2014, if that's correct. I mean, I hope I'm thinking of the right game because I actually don't know when Euphoria came out. So let's just look it up and make sure I'm talking about the right game. I hope it is. Yeah, it must be the right game because Euphoria came out in 2013. And oh no, that's a different Euphoria. Never mind. Let's try this again. Euphoria. Build a Better Dystopia. Oh, actually, that came out in 2013 as well. So there's 2 Euphoria games that came out in 2013. So yeah, I played Euphoria back in 2014, which was a very long time ago. So I actually don't remember much about it. So maybe I should play that again. Yeah. So, you know, I think I would like to play Euphoria again, actually. So maybe that would be fun. So that was the first thing I needed to clear up. The second thing is, someone asked, would I do Africa again, or was it a once-in-a-lifetime trip? Well, firstly, it was very expensive. I would love to do Africa again if the opportunity presents itself, if I manage to ever save up enough money to do it again. And I learned lessons from this trip, right? So like I know, I mean, this is a problem I have on every trip I take. I overpack by a lot. So I would pack much less than I did for this Africa trip because I packed way too much. It was crazy. I would not bring my favorite items with me. So I would only pack things which I would be comfortable having stolen or losing. So clothes, just very plain clothes that I don't care about. And if they get lost or stolen, then who cares? I would not pack my favorite purse or wallet or a brand new backpack. I would be careful about what electronics I pack. I actually took my iPad with me, and I didn't even actually use my iPad on the entire trip. Like, I only used it like once or twice, to be honest, which is crazy. So yeah, so I'd be more careful about what I pack. But luckily my iPad was not stolen. So yeah, if I could save money, I would definitely do it again, because I would love to go to Zambia. When I was in Africa, in Kenya, someone I know was actually in Zambia at the same time and posted photos from their safari on Facebook, and it looked really nice. So I mean, there's just, you know, Africa is such a big continent, and I would love to see a lot more of it, see more wildlife in different locations. I would love to do it again. And I think being out in nature and observing animals in their natural habitat, doing things that they want to do, living life the way they want to live is so important, and it's just so meaningful and beautiful. You know, I'm not a fan of zoos. Obviously I'm 100% against circuses or any form of entertainment that uses wild animals. So, you know, it's really important to me to get out into nature and see animals. So yeah, so it was really amazing. Or to go to a legitimate sanctuary. So, you know, I've volunteered at an elephant sanctuary twice in Thailand, which I would love to do again. But there are a lot of places that pose as legitimate sanctuaries when they're not. So you really need to be careful and do your research. I actually have a lot of contacts in Africa and Asia. So if you are someone who is ever interested in experiencing wildlife, you know, feel free to message me and tell me where you're thinking of going, and I'll let you know whether it's a legitimate place or not. Of course, I made a mistake myself on my Africa trip and went to the giraffe center, which I thought was a sanctuary, so I messed up myself. But it was not a sanctuary, it was just an educational center. But at least the giraffes were very happy and had a lot of space, and they weren't being abused or used in any way for entertainment. Like, they didn't go through some torture process to then provide humans with entertainment. Like, they aren't trained to do anything. So someone asked, what is my next travel location on my bucket list? Again, it will take time to save up, but I've actually been here before, but you know, it's been a super duper long time, but I haven't been to Iran since 2006. And I would really like to go back. Isfahan is one of my favorite cities in the world. Isfahan, Nisfa Jahan, which means Isfahan is half of the world, because it's just so freaking beautiful, has so much art and history and culture to it. I would love to go to Iran again. If not Iran, since I've already been there, if I were to choose a location I've not been to, well, now I've been to every continent. I went to Australia by myself in 2010. I've been to Asia, I've been to Europe, I've been to South America, I've been to Peru. So what's left is Antarctica, and I hate cold weather, and I hate snow, and I hate darkness. So, but apparently you can get there, I think. So, so maybe I would like to go there for a day or two, just to then say I've been to every continent. So maybe that's next on my bucket list. But I don't know anything about getting to Antarctica. I think you could go to South America, and I think from South America you can take like a trip to Antarctica, if I'm correct. I don't know. Maybe someone can correct me. If not Antarctica, then if not Iran and Antarctica, then I think I would like to go to another South American country. I would like to go to maybe Chile. I think Chile would be cool. Yeah, definitely maybe another South American country, and maybe to see part of the Amazon rainforest, but like in a bubble. Like if I could find some kind of like a boat or something that is like completely covered with no opening, so no snake could possibly get inside, and if I could experience the rainforest in that way, that would be fantastic, because I am terrified of snakes. Like being in Africa, my biggest fear was seeing snakes. Speaking of Africa, because of my injury, my health problem last weekend, I haven't uploaded photos yet, but I promise I will try to do that soon. I will try to do that this weekend. So, you know, I haven't forgotten that. I have a lot of people asking for that. Someone asked me about moving, because I had mentioned I would like a bigger space, and someone actually remembered, really good memory, that I had applied for the Colorado bar and I was accepted to the Colorado bar. I still need to be sworn in. In order to be sworn in, you need to take like, you know, a course, and then take the oath of, you know, to be admitted. I haven't done that. I still have a little bit of time that I can do that, but, and you know, in hindsight, it was kind of a mistake, but I couldn't have known this at the time. So I was really set on moving to Colorado, even though I've never been there. I don't know anyone there. It just seemed like a really great place to live with good job opportunities, good legal job opportunities, and it seemed like housing would be more affordable there. Like maybe someday I'd be able to buy a house there. So that's why I had spent, it cost $2,000 to apply to the Colorado bar. So it's a lot of money. And I, took a lot of time to do the application. You have so much work to do the application, but it was approved. But then, there's family circumstances which are now preventing me from going. So because, I don't want to get into personal details because I typically don't discuss family details and stuff like that. But I think at this point in time, it's good for me to stay close to my family so that we can all be there for each other. So the plan is hopefully to move to actually Rochester now, Rochester, New York. I already have a sister who lives there. My mom is planning on moving there, and I am hoping to move there as well. Even though I love Ithaca more than anything, Ithaca is my most favorite place that I've ever lived. That includes London, and I've lived in London. So I will be sad to leave Ithaca, but it's only an hour and 40 minutes away from Rochester. And if I do move, I've already discussed it with my employer, I would still keep my Ithaca job and maybe just work remotely and come only on the days I have court. So, I'm still figuring a lot of things out. But I'm not moving anytime soon, maybe within the next few months. I definitely have plans of moving before the end of next July. Like that is 100% certainty because I do not plan on renewing my lease. And my lease runs from August 1st of a year to July 31st of the following year. And landlords in this area are crazy and they message you in September to ask you if you want to renew your lease for the following year. Like I know what my life is going to be like in August 2023, but they expect you to tell them whether or not you're renewing, and there's no law against it. Of course I would know that because I'm a housing attorney, so it sucks. But yeah, I definitely have plans to be out of here before my lease expires in July of 2023. So I want to discuss something else. So before I left for UKGE, I was banned from a group on Facebook in which I did not break any rules. It was the board game reviewers and media group where people can make connections, like content creators and publishers can connect with each other, and that's how a lot of content creators, find out about new games and make those connections and are able to cover new games. And people, when there's a convention happening, publishers would post, oh, we're gonna be here at booth, so-and-so, feel free to stop by. Other content creators posted like, oh, we're gonna be at the convention, are there any publishers who would love to meet up with us? So when other content creators did that, no issue. When I made a post saying I would be at UKGE and I would love to meet up with some content creators, my post got deleted. And then when I said, why is mine deleted and the other ones aren't deleted, then I got banned for questioning it. So I was banned from that group, which was a huge hit because that's, again, where one of the places where content creators and publishers are able to connect. And I was banned for not breaking any rules whatsoever because the admin, he would not even respond to my messages, and the moderator, who kept on deleting every comment I made, questioning why my post was deleted and not the other ones. He just kept on, it's Hungry Gamer, I don't know, you guys maybe know of his YouTube channel, but he was just being such an asshole to me. So he, I don't know if he's the one who decided that I should be banned from the group or the admin, but I got banned from that group, so that sucked because I didn't break any rules. And then I recently found out I was banned from another group in which I have not even posted or commented in a very long time, so I've not broken any rules. And you can't get banned for simply not posting anything for X number of months. Like I'd commented on posts in the past, but nothing ever controversial. And that is the tabletop jobs group. So there was a group where people, publishers and industry professionals would post about job openings in the tabletop industry, and people could learn about those jobs and apply for them. And so, as I expressed in my last video, my interest in, finding another job in the tabletop industry to make some extra income, I wanted to go to that group and see if anything was available, and that's when I found out I've been banned. And I don't know when I was banned or why, because I didn't break any rules. So I made a post about this on Facebook, and some guy responded. Some guy in the UK, I don't really even know who he is, but he apparently owns a game store or something, and he responded saying, oh, let me just actually bring up his post because I thought it was just complete bullshit. So he was basically saying stuff like, people see disruptors attempting to disrupt, and apparently I'm a disruptor. I'm not a disruptor. All I've ever done is defend myself against bullying and harassment. He basically, then we got into a whole discussion about what happened with Burnt Island Games, and he basically said that people don't like seeing their friends attacked, and I think really he just basically showed what hypocrites there are in this industry, because yes, your friend can do something wrong, and instead of standing up for what's right, or what's, you know, or actually condemning what's wrong, if it's your own friend who's doing it, then you will find reasons to, you know, take the side of the wrongdoer if it's your friend. And that's exactly what happened with the whole Helena Kappel thing. Like, you can listen to the recording, and I was being completely gaslit, and all these people who would typically recognize that as being gaslit were defending their Zionist friend. So whatever. And then, you know, the conversation just went on, and he said that I'm friends with people who are violent. Not to my knowledge. I'm not friends with anyone who is violent. In fact, I think it's really ironic that he would say that, because one of the people who was elected to the Gamma board, Matt Fantastic, issued a public apology after punching someone at Gen Con. So here you have someone who all these people support who actually was physically violent with someone else. Yeah, I'm being associated with people who are supposedly violent. I don't know of anyone on my friends list who has ever engaged in any violence with anyone. So all this like propaganda and bullshit and smear campaign against me, you can see how far it's gone, where people will just ban me from groups when I've done nothing wrong. They believe I'm friends with violent people when no such thing. I'm not friends with anyone who's violent. In fact, when that person in the industry who shot his wife and shot his wife's mother, I believe it was, and then killed himself, I think his name was Sean Varsos. He worked for this one publisher. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Eric Lang was actually friends with him. So here's someone who committed a violent act, and do people go around telling Eric Lang, oh look, you're friends with violent people? Nope. Do they tell him, oh look, you're friends with a violent person, Matt Fantastic, who punched someone at a convention? Nope. So they can be friends with violent people, and it's perfectly fine, but I'm not friends with anyone who's committed any acts of violence to my knowledge, but I'm somehow, that's the reputation I have. I mean, the smear campaign is just beyond ridiculous at this point. Like, you know, it's so obvious what's going on here. People just spewing lies about me to try to eliminate me from this industry, and it's just exhausting. I'm just like, you know, I'm just tired of dealing with it, but it's not gonna work. You know, I've said it time and time again, you can try all you want to get rid of me, but I'm not going to just give up and leave. So, you know, too bad for you guys. Just keep on trying. I don't care. I'm not leaving. So there's that. So I got banned from that group. So to all of my viewers, if you know, want to continue seeing content, and, you know, I do need to maintain publisher relationships. So, you know, please, if you ever get the opportunity, reach out to publishers, tell them you enjoy my 1-minute videos, or, you know, my, you know, discussion of board games, because it's the only way now I think that I will be able to continue to get work in this industry, since they are trying everything they can to eliminate me from this industry. So, but, you know, I'm still going to keep on going to conventions. I'm still going to keep on doing what I can and making content, and hopefully improving my content once I move into a bigger space and have a proper studio. And I'm working hard on that. Like, I actually, this past weekend, I actually looked at some places to move into and stuff like that, because I'm a housing attorney, so I know that I can end my lease early. I would just need to work out some details and make sure that my landlord, you know, makes a good faith effort to refill my apartment, because he can't claim back rent or do rent for me if he does not make a good faith effort to re-rent this apartment if I break my lease early. Like, I know the housing law. And because I'm a housing attorney, I know that the demand for housing in this area is very high, so he should not have a problem with, you know, putting someone else in this apartment. So I am looking currently for a bigger place to live. I have my eye set on a certain place. I don't want to go into details, but if I am able to get this place, then I may be able to move in like the beginning of November. If I don't get it, then I might wait until like spring of next year. We'll see. I don't know. But, you know, eventually I'm going to move into a bigger place. So yeah, so that is that. So again, to any of my you know, followers, if you are, you know, subscribers, if you have any favorite publishers, please, you know, do, you know, reach out to them and let them know about my content if they're not aware of it, or just let them know that you like it. That would really help a lot, considering that I'm getting banned from groups left and right for no reason. Yeah, and I guess that's it. So, you know, I'm doing better. So hopefully I will be playing more games next week and have more games to talk about. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. And of course, I'm not at Gen Con. I've been seeing pictures. It looks extremely crowded. It looks like there's huge crowds at Gen Con, so I think PAX Unplugged is better for me because I actually don't really like big crowds. PAX Unplugged, even PAX Unplugged can feel a bit too crowded for me, but Gen Con is way larger, and like the photos I've seen, like I think I would feel claustrophobic at Gen Con in some of those pictures, so probably not the place for me. So I guess I'm kind of glad I'm not there right now. Not to mention I didn't have the money to go anyway, so, but maybe someday I'll go anyway, but I'm really looking forward to PAX Unplugged anyway. All right, I shall stop babbling, so until next time guys, bye.